puzzles do you think you have designed over the years?
Oh, literally thousands.
The concept of puzzles have been around for years now. However, Gayle Vandurme has created his own unique twist to the art of puzzle working. We spoke with him about what started this journey of unique puzzles.
Well, being an engineer, I worked with numbers a lot. And so one day I decided it would be a lot of fun if I could make a number puzzle where all the numbers from 0 through 9 fit together in a puzzle. So when I finished, I showed it to one of my coworkers, and he said, "Oh, that's cool. You know what would be really neat if you could do that for the whole alphabet." So I took that as a challenge. So that was my next puzzle, but that one took a little bit more time. First number puzzle took me a couple weeks to do, but the alphabet puzzle actually took me 2 or 3 years to do.
Once he created his first alphabet puzzle, he didn't just stop there. He began to branch out even further.
I wondered if I could make an object and then make the letters that would form the object. And the first one I think I thought of was apple. And that was kind of the start of all of the different puzzles. And finally one day I thought, maybe I could do animals too.
Once he realized he could make animal puzzles, he needed a way to pick out which animals he would design next out of the thousands of different species.
I would used to go for a challenge. I would go through the alphabet. So I pick an animal that started with A and then B, C, and so on, all the way through. Well, there's not that many animals that start with X, Y, and Z. So in the process of doing that, I learned about all sorts of different types of animals that I had never heard of before. And so the whole thing of just creating the puzzles, I learned a lot myself in doing so.
Although the designs on paper were nice, he wanted to start making them into something physical that people were able to play with.
There was no program for these. These were done with a scroll saw in my basement. So they were all done by hand and with different types of wood. So this was some of the basic simple ones, and I kept getting more elaborate as I progressed. So this is an example of kind of where I ended up with some of my woodworking type puzzles, decorative. And this one spells bald eagle.
After creating the puzzles by hand for years, he soon found a more efficient way to create his puzzles with a machine called a laser cutter.
I think what started it was one day I went into the library, Central Library in Johnson County, and I found out that they had just opened up a new makerspace. And when I went in there, I found out they had a laser cutter. And I thought, all that tedious work that I was doing on the scroll saw, I could do a lot quicker if I used their laser cutter.
As he continued to design and create more and more Spelluzzles, the puzzles that spell what they are, he soon ran into a problem.
When I was doing puzzles, any of the Spelluzzles puzzles were done in the English language. And so I got thinking, well, that kind of eliminates, a good portion of the world that doesn't speak English. So I thought I would try to make some puzzles that were more universal, that anybody anywhere could play with. So this was really for a very young child to play with. And then the next step going beyond this was to go ahead and, if you wanted to teach a child how to spell the different animals, this one is another farm animal related one, but it's got the names of the animals here. And of course, these names could be engraved in any language that you wanted to.
Over a decade ago, he began his puzzle journey, and it has continued to grow every single day. After designing so many puzzles, we asked him what his main goal was when creating them.
Well, a lot of my puzzles have been designed, I think, they're for parents to work with children and play along with them. For example, all the Spelluzzles, you would take it apart and then when they're younger, help them spell out the name of the animals and just introduce them to the basic concept that, here's an animal, but the letters make a word and that word spells the name of the animal. So they've got that concept in their mind. So.
No matter what age you are, he has a puzzle designed for you. Whether you're looking to learn how to spell or looking for a difficult brain teaser, he has put in the work to create something for you to have fun with and use your own creativity to solve.